Enemy of the state.
An enemy of the state.
Enemy of the state.
Dank Podstash.
You're listening to Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash. Visit thedankpodstash.com where you'll find our shop, calendar of events, and more. Become a patron or BitBacker and join us in our private Discord server where you'll have access to live shows and post-show Q&As.
Business owners, you can advertise on the Dank Podstash, reach a larger audience, and make more sales. Just email us at dankpodstash@gmail.com for more details.
Welcome everyone to episode 36 of Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash. My name is Nick and I'm here as usual with my co-host David Ballantyne. How's it going, buddy?
It's going all right. It's a good day today. I'm excited. It's all promising.
It is fucking beautiful
How about
outside.
You doing good?
Here, man. It's a foggy morning. Got some good pictures. And now it's nice and sunny, just chilling.
There was no fog here today. It was straight to sun, which has been abnormal for lately. So I was happy about that.
Hell yeah. Well, as you can see, we're just kind of going off the cuff today. Me and David taking a break from guests. We're probably going to do some housekeeping, little stuff just about the channel, some possible new suggestions, reformatting of certain things, and see what you all think about that, as well as some topics that came up during the week that are interesting. And if we have time, we'll get to some topics that people had asked us about. And if we don't, and also we have some topics or questions brought up for our patrons who get access to the after hours. If you want access to those as well, it is our second level in the Patreon, which is something I'm going to be bringing up a little later. We might shake things up in there. So yeah, that's what's going on. Let me bring you real quick a message from our friend Shane over at libertyunderattack.com. Shane runs Liberty Under Attack Publications and has a special offer for our listeners, the listeners of the Dank Podstash, that you can get 10% off your order with code DANK10 on libertyunderattack.com. And what you can do with that 10% off is you can buy some books. Shane's got some books focusing on self-liberation, freedom strategies, solutions, and more. His current books are #Agora, Second Realm Book on Strategy, Ben Stone's Sedition, Subversion, and Sabotage, and Shane's very own Vanu, a strategy for self-liberation. They also offer assistance to new authors throughout the publishing process, including editing, proofreading, formatting for Kindle and paperback, and full-service audiobook production. That's Liberty Under Attack Publications. Share your story, find your freedom on libertyunderattack.com. Definitely take advantage of that. Shane's had at least one person take advantage of that for the editing and publishing stuff, which is really awesome because we do this every week, and it's kind of a little trade of publicity between our podcast and the Vanu podcast, and I believe we'll be mixing it up also with Anarcho Coffee at some point as well. And it's kind of a spin-off of one of our earlier episodes about anarchist networking, because if you're going to spend money and look for services and whatnot, I think it's a good idea to look into our community and try to support people and help them grow their good freedom-oriented businesses. It's just good practice, and hand in hand with agorism as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. There's lots of at least on Facebook, little groups like the one that made an Anarchy made the Anarcho Bazaar. They just changed the name, and they promote a lot of anarchist, liberty-minded businesses, and it's good stuff. I love looking through there and seeing what everybody's got going on.
Yeah,
so definitely. If you've got something you want, see if somebody in the community is offering it first before you go elsewhere.
Absolutely. There's not one like central. That's the thing that we could all work on too. There's not one central listing for all this stuff, and that can be kind of hard to do if we're trying to keep out of government eye and whatnot with certain services and payments and things like that. But just reach out to us. We know a whole lot of people that do all this stuff. And like you said, David, just look around. I'm pretty sure if you just type anarchy, maybe anarchy products in a search engine, you'll probably find something very, I don't know, very easily, very quickly. And there's a lot of good shit. Like once I get this studio set up, I'm going to get a really cool wood burning piece that our homie Mike Smith did for me. I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but it will be up here in the background. I'm super stoked to share that with everybody. It's super amazing the amount of fucking talent that so many people in the anarchist community have. It's fucking awesome. I love seeing that shit. There is one more talented thing that we are going to be involved with soon. I'm trying to pull up the fucking link. But that it's really exciting. Maybe we'll jump into that a little bit later if I can't find it. But I'm super stoked for this. It's what is it? Stateless Productions?
Yeah, Stateless Productions. I'm not sure what the documentary is called. I did like one page at some point that was Stateless Documentary, but who knows if that's a working title or not. So I think it's amazing, and I mean they're putting out a lot of effort to get a good quality documentary and product out there for people, and I like it a lot myself. I would recommend everybody to check that out. They got an Indiegogo going right now. I don't have the link right in front of me. I'm sure that's what you're looking at.
I got it right here. This is it? This was posted by Chris Kofer in the Black Market Memes group that is still up, despite possibly the page being gone now, right?
Yeah, the page is gone, but the group's still up. I don't even manage the group too much. I left that to a couple of my buddies.
Nice. But yeah, if you go into the Black Market Memes group or let's see, the Facebook page for the documentary that these guys are making is called Stateless Productions. And I believe the top 3 guys on here, I can't read, it's a little small on here. Well, 2 of them, good buddy of the show, Chris Kofer, and then someone everybody knows around here, Pete Raymond, are putting together a really cool documentary called Beyond the State. They got a whole lot of big names up in there that they're going to be interviewing, and a whole lot of names maybe not so big, but I really like that they're jumping in there and getting as much from as many different people as they can, because it's called Beyond the State. I think you can search that on Indiegogo.com. Help them out financing that. They have a bunch of different packages all the way up to being a producer, so you'll be listed in the credits and on IMDb, which is pretty fucking awesome. And Chris announced on the Black Market Meme in the Black Market Memes group that they will be interviewing us, probably about some Enemy of the State's Dank Pod Stash stuff and memes and everything we do. So I am super, super honored and excited that they reached out to do that with us.
Yeah, being interviewed, along with all those big names, it's shocking. I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. Who am I? But I mean, I love that they're doing that. That they have the big names, the good draws, and then they have, like what we try to do, they try to give everybody a voice. Like, let's go around and find the not so known people and the people that have things that they want to say that don't know how to get them out there. That's amazing to me. And yeah,
because I mean, that is pretty much the basis for our whole show. Is we want to get the voices out there, and it's awesome to see other people doing that because there's so much good shit beyond what the big voices have to say. And in my opinion, probably more, I've been more inspired by just people I've met in real life and on, whatever social media, just talking back and forth with them and formed friendships and, just groups of people to talk with about all this stuff. And there's always such good insights. And not only has it made me feel good, it has confirmed that I don't know shit, but it's good because I'm learning. It's the whole thing of being the change you want to see, and part of that's learning. So we're here doing that every day that we do the Pod Stash and every day in general. But let me run through the team for Beyond the State because I found the names here. So that's going to be Pete Mance Raymond, Robert Rex, Chris Kofer, Bryce Peterson, Andrew Kern, Killian Hobbs, and Vinnie Marshall. So, and they have that crowdfunding up on Indiegogo. We'll put that in the links for the show and share the bejesus out of it, because this is going to be a powerhouse of a documentary. It's going to be fucking awesome, and it could have a huge impact. I expect it to.
I'm more excited to watch it than I am to be interviewed for it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny.
I agree. I don't know. Just like every time we record the podcast, you get a little, little jittery, a little Alex Jones. Got to be honest with you, I'm kind of retarded. That's gonna probably amplify by like what 100,000. It's pretty sweet though. I'm super stoked.
Yeah. I'm about to go stick my nose into every book I can find on any topic that is relevant, and then hope to God I can remember it, because half the time doing just this show, as soon as it's recording, everything's out the window. My brain is mush. And hello, what are words?
Absolutely. And we're running all this shit too, so we're kind of distracted as we do the show. But that's just that's what I'm saying right there. Striving to be better, if not just to bring better stuff to everybody. Reading books and shit, and I'm way behind on my book reading. But that brings me to another point, something that I've been kind of rolling around in the old brain pan. An idea is kind of an anarchist exchange library. I want to set up a PO box for the pod stash at some point, so we can mail y'all stuff and you guys can send us stuff if you have something to send us. I think that'd be pretty cool. And I know a lot of people are into electronic books. I am not. The screens fuck with my eyes quite a bit, but I really love just reading regular books and collecting them. And it'd be a pretty easy, cheap way to spread books around to people who are interested. So at the least, maybe a reading list or a library. And we have a book list in our Discord too. Earlier I mentioned, just meeting a bunch of people and having a good place to talk. Jump on in the Discord, because we kind of switched that from our original idea, which was pay $1 to get into the Discord. It is a private server still, so we vet who's in there and who gets to stay and whatnot, and it's nothing crazy, but there are private rooms within the server for our patrons of different levels for the bonuses they get, which we're going to be ramping up as we come up with new ideas. But we have a anarchist reading list section in there, and people just post what they're reading, talk about it a bit. I got a whole long list I'm getting ready to drop in there, and so yeah, that's just going to help you improve your philosophy by keeping on learning.
Yeah, it's all about self-education and teaching yourself, getting more information, and broadening your horizons.
Inspiring, absolutely. Yeah, so as far as access for the patrons, so that's how we got it broken down right now. Is dollar level gets you into those private rooms, and then we have an after hours show that I'm thinking is going to be about $10 a month for the after hours and all the previous bonuses. And I'm planning on starting up a little weekly, bi-weekly, possibly monthly little newsletter with stuff about all the shows for everybody, something we can throw in there, and for probably $5 a month, and including the Discord invite, as well as some bonuses and Patreon goals. So along with kind of the housekeeping and ideas we're throwing out here for you guys today, make sure to tell us what you want to see. Like, what do you guys want us to give you in exchange for support of the show?
Yeah,
because that's all we want, is to make the show better, and we can't do that without your support. We're doing everything we can, and it is getting better, and we have some good support behind us right now too, so that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, there's lots of brains behind it. There's lots of people helping us out. It's not just us. I mean, we put out a lot, but there's lots of people that we ask advice from and get ideas from as well. Nick, one thing that I had been thinking about that I kind of said to Nick a couple of times was, for the patrons, we're going to do kind of, we read some news articles, talk about current events, things like that, go over them, give our opinions on it, BS about it. That should be a pretty fun and kind of informative thing that we could do. That's one that I got going on in my head. I also got I got 2 free, not for patron bits of content. One should already be coming out consistently, which is the videos, the shit status say videos, where I go over some more choice, interesting comments that I see out there from status or just annoying people who are probably status. But for some reason, I went to upload last week's up onto Facebook, and it's apparently spam. Immediately, it got flagged and wasn't able to post because it was spam somehow, even though I created pretty much every bit of it but the sound bites, other than my voiceover. So I don't know why it was said it was spam. I read through the guidelines. Of course, Facebook, they're just
very vague,
nitpicking, and yeah. But even in their vague little rules about spam, none of it had anything to do with that video. So it was confusing. But I'm gonna try and get that up. I'll probably try maybe tomorrow. I'll get that up. Maybe we'll just switch it to be next week's. I've missed a few weeks because of things going on, but oh well. And I've also got my own interviews with specific people that I'm going to be doing here pretty soon, and I want to get that going because that's been on my mind and should be pretty entertaining. And I'm excited to do it. I need to get some angst out.
Yeah,
what ideas you got?
Some short interviews is what you're thinking, and that'll be Patreon exclusives as well.
Yeah, that one's going to be Patreon exclusive. So you'll have to pay to get that one, but it's definitely going to be worth it. It'll be highly entertaining, and I'm sure everyone will love it.
Yeah, I am privy to this idea, and I think it's fucking fantastic. That's one you're going to want to drop a couple bucks on. So, yeah, and you mentioned the news articles, going over that. Feel free to send those to us. Hop in the Discord, hit us up for a invite, and you can drop them in there because we have a room for news in there. It's a really awesome server. It's turned out really well thanks to our friends in there, but mostly our mods, Conrad Chaos and the Nihilist Agorist is what they go by in the server, and they're fucking fantastic. Couldn't be doing this without them. But yeah, they'll take care of you if you hop in there. So yeah, hit us up for a link, or just message us, or post news articles to the page if you want us to go over them and tell us what you think. We'll do that. As far as ideas for me, the voice function on Facebook Messenger is super useful, and it has the perfect timeout at 1 minute. And if you want to be a little part of the show, possibly bonus content, record a 1 minute message of something you want us to talk about real quick, an opinion, something about the show, something about what's going on, anything about your philosophies, anarchist, libertarian, whatever, and jet them over to the Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash page on Facebook. And I will record those, and we'll go over some of that stuff either on the show or in a different segment. That's something I've been wanting to bust into as well. I think that's a really cool way for people to be able to get their voice out there without having to do a full episode, because not a lot of people want to do a full episode. So do some little sound bites, go over some stuff real quick, and that'll be really cool. That's my main thing as far as little bonus content for now. I'm working on some other projects that I'm not going to reveal at this point that don't have anything to do with the Podstash. So I've been a little busy, a little out of it with this stuff. Life's, it's kind of been shitting on us over here in the Western United States, and it's been a little tough, but we're pulling through, and I'm just glad we're able to record this today too. If you didn't have any other ideas or calls for people to send stuff our way, I got a little something, a little topic that I found to be very interesting this past week.
Go for it, man.
Sweet. So there's a dude, some people know him, some people don't. His name is Dave Champion, and I was recommended to hook up with Dave Champion to talk about the tax honesty movement a while ago. I haven't been able to quite get that together because I was on ban at the time, and I think I connected with him on my sock account. I haven't been able to on my regular. So I'm going to try to get him on there because the tax honesty movement is definitely something we're interested in bringing to you guys, and definitely check that out. Dave Champion and the tax honesty movement, wherever you can find him. But a person shared one of Dave's videos about telling people to stop showing your receipt as you leave a store, because the stuff you're leaving with is your property. You've paid for it. And he does make the exception, of course. If you go to if you're a member of a club store, like Sam's Club, Costco, shit like that. There's all kinds of different ones. I believe it's in your contract that you sign and pay for the membership that they're going to check your receipt on the way out because it's how they do their loss prevention. And I think more what he was talking about and what gets brought up when this stuff is talked about is things like Walmart, where it's open to the public. You walk in, you get your shit. There's cameras on you everywhere. You get your receipt and you leave. And it's almost like TSA-esque on your way out because they got the people there in the vests and they're just like, hey, let me see your receipt. And I've never agreed to that. You know, it's not a policy. That's what it is. It's not a policy that's laid out for the public anywhere to let people know this is what's happening. And it's sporadic. There's no uniform description or order in which they search people or ask for their receipt. And I usually just say, no thanks, or I just walk by and carry on my way because I've paid for my merchandise and it's now mine. And the critique of Dave Champion's video was like straight up, this is the quote, saying, bullshit, he is wrong. It's not your property until you prove you've paid for it. You prove you paid for it by showing the receipt. That's a big fucking thumbs down buzzer. You exchange whatever.
Whoever said that needs to stop sucking corporations' dicks, man.
That's fucking right. Yep. You exchange your goods or services for other goods or services. In this case, goods. You exchange money, services, whatever. That shit is yours as soon as the, in good faith exchange has taken place. Everybody's happy with the deal. It's done. So, and this is not saying to be a dick to people who ask for your receipt. I understand it's their way of doing loss prevention, and people steal a lot of shit from Walmart and places like that. Obviously, fine. I'm not. I'm buying my shit and I'm walking out. If you get popped for stealing something and you're not showing a receipt, whatever, they're doing their thing. But that shit is mine. That's the question: is when does the property become yours? And it becomes mine when I either use the self-pay kiosk or the cashier when I hand over my money, receipt given to me, transaction completed, take my shit and go. That's the exchange. So the question of whether or not it's your property until you show the receipt to someone at the door, even in the membership stores, it's your property as soon as you fucking pay for it. You can show the receipt if you want. You can show the receipt if you don't want, but it was a pretty interesting argument, and I don't know what fucking podcast or site this person writes for, but they ended up going on a tirade in an article about it. And I don't want to drop any names, blast people. If this gets back to whoever I had this exchange with, I'm happy to talk about it more, even though you were a fucking dick to me when we tried to talk about it. But come on the show. We'll fucking talk about it. So, oh yeah. I was apparently arguing against property rights by saying that these are my things after I've paid for them. So.
Well, he clearly doesn't understand property rights, and he's going to say that. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. It would be one thing if they looked at everybody's receipt, right? If everybody who walked through that door, they looked at the receipt. If they made it known prior to you going to the store to make these purchases that your receipt would be checked, like the club, places, that would be one thing. But to just pick and choose, like, oh, you look like a thief. Oh, I'm going to, you know what I mean? That's not okay. And it is your property, and you don't have to prove that it's your property once you've paid for it. They have security systems there that aren't some old dude looking at your receipt, at least talking about Walmart. So if you go through that and it doesn't beep, isn't that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Isn't that saying that you didn't steal anything? What is the point of having those then? Why do you have two sets of security? Do you just not trust any of your customers? Because if that's the case, then you should probably not, be in business.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wondered why they do it how they do, where they randomly ask people for receipts, because you're on camera. You're on like 3 different cameras at least when you go to the self-check kiosk, because you're on the self-check, you're on the overhead cameras, and then there's a camera walking out. Probably the same thing at the regular registers, and then also as you're walking through the store and all that. So it just seems like a really ineffective way to catch people, I guess. It's really strange. I guess maybe bagging stuff between paying for the stuff you did buy and walking out, but it's just such a strange thing to put together that you don't own it until you show a receipt, because even in the club stores, you own it when you pay for it. You've just agreed to show a receipt on the way out. And the thing with places like Walmart, the open to the public stores, is you said that it'd be one thing if they did it to everybody, but there's not an agreement beforehand. It's not posted like, hey, we're going to check your receipt on the way out, nothing like that. And from that, there's the argument of you're on their property, so they can do what they want. And within being on their property, you have exchanged some of their stuff to be your property. So being on someone else's property with your property does not give them rights over you or your property. They can ask you to leave, but that shit is yours. Yeah. In my opinion. I might be wrong on that. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. I may have worded that fucky.
Words are words, man. But yeah, that's one of the reasons that I won't give Walmart any of my money. They don't get my business, and I'm sure lots of people do, but they don't get mine. And that's a good way to go about in any situation. You know, vote with your dollar. Lots of people say that, and I believe it's true.
Yeah,
you give these people power by giving them money. So stop giving them money. If we all stop giving them money, they won't exist anymore until the government, who is constantly propping up businesses like that. So
absolutely,
that's a whole nother topic in and of itself.
I found a weird phenomenon with this topic as well, because I wanted to see, like, am I fucking nuts? Am I wrong as fuck on this? Because there was not a whole lot of support for the ideas I was putting out there on the original post. So I posed the question. I said, when do you own your property when you go to a store? Is it when you exchange your money for that, or is it when you prove with the receipt that it's yours? And pretty much unanimously, it was when you pay for it, it's yours. But there's, I think 75% of the people who answered dove straight into the I guess answering a question I hadn't asked of whether or not you should show the receipt, or if you mind showing the receipt. It was very strange. It was like the question of when your property when property becomes yours was out the window. It's like, well, I don't care about the receipt. It's like, oh yeah, well, I don't really care either, but when do you own your property? So yeah, weigh in on that one. Let us know about that. But I think it's pretty cut and dry.
It should be, but most things that you think should be cut and dry definitely are not with people. Everybody has their 2 cents and they think they're right, even if they're very, very wrong.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this too, I mentioned that this all stemmed from a video by Dave Champion. Check out that video, what he says, because he jumps not only into the philosophical implications of all this, but also a lot of the legality behind it. He knows his shit. So even within status parameters, you can rightfully not do this, but that's if you care about that shit. And that was on his page, Dr. Reality Dave Champion. And if anybody has access to Dave Champion or the tax honesty movement, throw him our way, because I still want to talk to him. That's a big thing I want to talk about, is the tax honesty movement. And I'm still going to keep reaching out to him. I guess that's another thing about reaching out to people. We kind of came to the end of our solid, 2-3 months booking of guests that we have, and we decided to take a break and do this show with just us. And we are going to be booking some more people, because that's what we want to do, have people on here and talk about stuff with us. So if you're interested, hit us up too. We have a few that we're going to reach out to after this show, probably within the next week, and see what's up. Some exciting shit. Some fucking trolls too, which should be funny as fuck.
I'm down, my people.
Well, what interesting shit did you hear this week, man? That was my turbulence.
My brain has been in another place, so I haven't been, anything that I may have heard has gone out of my brain.
I understand that. Well, I'm gonna go.
I'd like on the last topic though. I got a question for you, really quick.
Sure.
I know that here in this state specifically, they aren't legally you aren't legally obliged to show your receipt. Is that like that elsewhere? Is it like all encompassing that you found through Dave Champion stuff? Or?
Yes, according to his video, yeah, you don't have to show him shit.
And that's not per state to state. It's just all over.
I don't think it's different from state to state. That's not what I got from the video. It's a pretty long, comprehensive video. So, as I said, go check it out. It was a few days ago that I watched it, but that's what I got from it. Yeah, that was an interesting one. There's something. Oh yeah, a note too. Like if you're walking out of these stores and you don't want to show your receipt, fine, great, well within your right, but just probably a good idea not to be a total douche to these people, just because they're people.
Yeah.
You don't want to be douches to people in general. It might even, put them on a better track mentally if you maybe took a minute to explain it if they were interested, or were just polite and said, yeah, no thanks, and went about your business. Because, extending kindness is a hard thing to stick to for a lot of people, myself included. Easier in day-to-day interactions, but harder online for sure, and definitely something I'm working on to try to be that example of change I want to see in the world. So I think that's important. So there was an interesting kind of topic that, I think it's Mason in the Discord. He wanted to bring up, there's like a slew of topics, and one of them kind of was brought up that was kind of religion or atheism, specifically Christianity or atheism with anarchy. And I know there's a lot of people in both camps who consider themselves anarchists. I'm not religious, I'm not Christian, and I find that authoritarian religions of any stripe, in my mind, they're not compatible with anarchy. I know there's like Godarchy and anarcho-Christian and stuff like that, and there are messages within, say, the Bible that are anti-authority and whatnot, but the whole point of Christianity, it seems, is to give authority of yourself over to your God. And I think the idea of authority is antithetical to anarchy, especially in that way. I don't see these people necessarily that identify as anarchist Christians doing anything authoritarian for the most part. The principled ones. I find that does not jive for me. So we kind of talked about that with maybe Hody and Trisha just for a bit when they were on the show. But that's something we'll dive into another point. I got to knock the rust off my religion thinking skills, because that's something I left behind a long time ago.
Yeah. I stopped worrying about that kind of stuff long ago. I moved away from it. I stopped talking about it, stopped studying it, stopped discussing it. It became pointless in my mind. Actually, until maybe in this last year and a half or so, and I started meeting more people who are anarchists and are also religious, and discussing things with them, and their ideas. It's interesting, to say the least. Just the way they formulate these ideas in their head. To anybody who I know is my friend listening, I'm not saying anything bad about you. I avoid the subject with them. Occasionally I'll ask them their opinion if it pertains to that, but I usually avoid the subject because I know that they won't like my opinions on it, and I don't want to end up being rude when I'm not trying to be rude, just because I think they're wrong. Because who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Never know. I don't like to push anybody to not be something that they want to be. If it doesn't, as long as it jives with freedom and not fucking with me. I do love getting into that debate though with people, and there's some good points brought up. I want to say in the Bible, when the tribes of Israel wanted a king, I believe Solomon was the first king. I'm just bringing back my Bible study days from when I was a little kid. I believe God was like, you sure you guys want this? Like, you seem to be doing all right. And they're like, no, give us authority. So it's a lesson to be extracted from that. Even their deity was like, yeah, I think you'd be all right. So there are things like that sound fine, that jive with the anti-authority kind of deal. And then when people are talking about just how they interact with what they believe to be the Christian God and whatnot. It's less of a authoritarian relationship and seems to be more of a guiding force. Like I said, not into it, but I can see a lot of the arguments they make. The whole give unto Caesar verse from the Bible. What is Caesar's? If you believe in God, you believe that God owns everything. So ain't shit Caesar's. That makes sense too. There's and that's the thing that I think is good to extrapolate from all different kinds of religions is the good shit like that, the stuff that teaches you stuff. Because I'm pretty sure the golden rule, do unto others, permeates every religious tradition. So it's a pretty good foundation. Where it expanded from there, that's another story.
Yeah, it's almost in a way similar to a lot of the anarchist ideologies in my mind, how religion has split. I believe sometime way back, and I'm sure that there's people that study the like Gnostic texts, things like that know about this way more than I do, but I don't care to know because to me it's all made up nonsense. That's where I base. See, I'm losing track of my brain here. Basically, there was something a long time ago that everybody liked a lot, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna cherry pick this part of it, and I'm gonna go off in this." And I mean, once you get into the Abrahamic religions, it becomes obvious that they've just cherry picked every fucking religion before them, and made some hodgepodge that they liked the best, and they're like, "This is my fan fiction, and I'm sticking with it." So, and then kings and various people have edited the texts and changed things, and it's all written by humans. I don't believe anything came from some deity, some all-knowing God or anything like that. It's all written by humans, and humans are fallible, so I just don't trust it.
Yeah. I don't think there's any denying that the structure that religion provided helped advance humanity in certain ways. And the thing that that bugs me when people bring that up is that, it sure is useful. That doesn't mean it continues to be useful or is necessary to continue. It's kind of the same thing. I don't necessarily think government has advanced things more than a free market and a free people would. It's something that needs to be evolved, that we need to evolve away from, that we're trying to get away from because of all the bullshit. And even with the good, the little bits of good here and there, that doesn't make it worth it. So there's one thing to the structure of religion that is, in my mind, becoming fast useless. And another thing with your personal spirituality and what helps you there. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I'm fond of saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Take the good and get rid of the bad. And it goes along with all the different schools of anarchist philosophy, which is what led to my disdain of hyphens, anarcho-hyphens, is because there's a whole lot of good stuff in a whole lot of different philosophies involved. And you don't have to stick 100% to every part of it. You take the good, and if something sounds a little fucky, you toss it out. You put shit together. I know we both know, sorry if you didn't want to be mentioned, but Emily Brown on Facebook. I fucking love reading their posts because super intelligent, putting together all kinds of really good ideas. And when asked what they identify as far as their school of anarchy, it's a really awesome grouping of philosophies and things together. It's nice to see people not being bound into, well, I mostly believe in this, so I'm an anarcho-hyphen this. And just be yourself, be an anarchist, promote freedom and help other people out. It's really important.
The problem with the hyphens, I know we've gotten into this before, is that people take it and they get really dogmatic with it. And then they shove everybody else out. Everybody else isn't an anarchist because they don't agree 100% with me. And that's terrible. It's just bad practice. Like, there's so many ideas and varying sects of anarchy that are good, and there's some that's not so good. Why set your mind on this narrow path with no room for error or learning. Like a lot of people, I mean, I constantly get called an ANCAP, and I'm like, nope, I'm not an ANCAP. And it's because they're like, well, you like the free market. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but there's something to be said when you start delving into economics about what is the free market. Is capitalism just trade? Like we could go on forever about that, but learn.
Let me stop
Look at
that
everything.
real quick.
Don't
No, it's
close
not.
your mind off. Yeah. No, it's not. Let me just say this. If capitalism was just a free market, why would you say free market capitalism? Why? Explain it to me.
Boom. You were saying, though, keep your mind open?
Yeah, keep your mind open. Talk to other people. Stop shoving anybody who disagrees with you away. And I'm sure people would listen to that and be like, David, you block everybody. I'm like, no, I don't block somebody because I disagree with them. I block them because they're rude and it's just not good. I have plenty of friends that I disagree with on lots and lots of things that I interact with all the time, and we talk and we're friends, but we disagree strongly on a lot of things. Just because you disagree doesn't mean you have to hate somebody. And just because somebody doesn't follow your ideology exactly does not mean you need to cast them out. So talk to people, talk amongst yourselves, discuss ideas, and don't instantly hate somebody just because they don't believe the exact same thing you do.
Yeah. The question I would ask coming out of that is like, how are we going to advance if we can't keep talking about the things we disagree on and find a way to work together or at least parallel to each other? It's just the dehumanizing of other groups of people, especially sad, seen inside anarchist, I guess, circles. It's the easiest way to justify shitty actions is to dehumanize people. It's the Hoppy and Snake meme bullshit. Communists aren't people. So, and that from there you take the next step to it's okay to throw them out of fucking helicopters. Yeah, nah, dude. No. You can't just throw someone out of a helicopter because they believe different from you and you've decided that they're not a person.
And it's a tactic that's been used by states, authoritarians, since, forever. So why are you calling yourself an anarchist and then adopting these tactics that is used almost exclusively by authoritarians? Like, you're a little bit confused and you need to go look in a mirror, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always a super bummer to see, anarchists fighting about different things. I understand the importance of economics in most anarchist minds, no matter what school, except for some of the Passio and natural law fucking weirdos who don't give a fuck about that stuff. It's the way that we interact financially. It's the way we exchange things. And just because someone doesn't agree with you, whether or not they're factually correct, if you can demonstrate that, doesn't mean that they're not a person, and doesn't mean that is means for a preemptive strike against them and everyone like them, because you're making up scenarios in your head that in the future they're going to fuck everything up and become enemies. Like, you're just making up reasons to enact violence and not work with someone or alongside them. The specific example I'm thinking of is a lot of caps talk about not wanting to exist in proximity with a voluntary commune, say anarcho-communist, mutualist, socialist, whatever, because at some point when their economic system fails, they're going to come over and fuck everything up trying to take things away from the caps. And that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I think there can be help extended in the free market, in the agora. These ideas are going to compete and the best will win. But that doesn't mean, you see people like Venezuela. You look at Venezuela. What do you want to do? Say, go fuck yourself now, or do you want to help people? You want to extend that help, and it makes me think of something. My friend Jeremy Harding, that a lot of people know from the Weekly Hellscapes, has coined as the anarcho-coalitionism. This is a coalition of people who want freedom and to end the state. And it's fucking stupid to be infighting when we have the biggest link that we all share, and that's the love of freedom and wanting to push that forward.
Yeah, people don't realize that with the infighting and shit that they are helping the state out, and it's extremely annoying. And people won't shut up. And people rag on me because they think I just strictly hate on capitalists now and caps. And I'm like, no, it's just the most that I see right now. Yeah, there's a flip side, and there's the tankies, but the thing that permeates the internet liberty sphere community is the really hateful ANCAPs and the really hateful libertarians, which is a whole nother story. So that's why I've been ragging so hard, is because that's what I see the most. When I first found the online community, those are the first people that I interacted with, was the ANCAPs. And there was lots of good people. I still have plenty of friends that are ANCAPs. I have nothing against them just because of their ideology. I have something against the ones that have attitude problems, that feel like that they need to attack everybody and that they're the best just because of their ideology. That's absolutely insane, and they need to shut the fuck up. Like, I've seen people go at somebody. People have gone at me strictly because I said something that was a joke, that anybody that knows me knew it was a joke, but it was slightly anti-capitalist in a way. Like I believe I said it's not real capitalism or something like that. It was a joke, and I'm just pointing out the weird similarities between various arguments and things. And they immediately went and screenshot my post and said that I'm an idiot and started calling me names and saying all this shit. And I tried to be like, hey, yo, you took a joke the wrong way, but they just doubled down. And I later found out this person's fairly young and just got into the scene. But if somebody who has just gotten into the scene and is watching other people and behaving like them, that says a lot that they'd behave like that. That immediately anything that can be misconstrued as commie talk, you're a commie and you're an idiot and I'm going to slam you. Like, come on.
Well, hopefully it could be turned into a teachable moment, not necessarily to dissuade them from being an ANCAP, but maybe towards just a little, open to the other philosophies, because that's what I came in with, the cap, the right kind of anarchist stuff, and reading is what really broadened my horizons. I mean, it's pointless to stagnate and not read, especially if you disagree, wholeheartedly. If you have like a nemesis, caps and comms, why wouldn't you want to understand what you think is your enemy? And I think some people might find some middle ground from that. Yeah, it's a thing we can all work on together. It's encouraging because, you see a lot of that shit, a lot of negativity from that side of stuff. But I've been seeing a lot more extension of olive branches, thinking specifically of Hody, our good pal Hody, and where he does his stuff over with We Are Libertarians. Their We Are Libertarians reader featured, Libsock, an article in one of their, in that first reader or second reader, one of the readers they put out alongside 11 not libsocks, along capitalists and other things. And I think that's awesome, and why hide the things that you disagree with instead of letting them be out there so people can see, hey, this is fucking stupid, or maybe he's got a point. If you're silencing all kinds of different stuff, assholes, racists, fucking whatever, how is anyone going to know who they are and where they are? They're going to out themselves if you let them talk. And that's not to say that this, Libsock was wrong in everything they were saying, although I didn't agree. There's a whole plethora of ideas out there, and censorship is not conducive with freedom, is my main point. In that jumble of fucking word salad. I was fucking running around with my brain on that one.
It's jumble of word salad today. I've done it like 3 times, and then I'm in the middle of saying something. I'm like, what is the point of what you're saying right now? I don't know. Let it trail off. Take a drink.
Sounds good. Keep moving. Keep talking. So diving away from that, I just wanted to touch on some of some of the fun ones Mason threw in here. He wants us to talk about 13% chicken tendies.
I don't even know what that means.
The first
What
thing
does
I
that mean,
think
Mason?
of, the first thing I think of would be McDonald's only uses 13% chicken when they make their chicken tendies. I don't eat fucking McDonald's.
Well,
so
apparently only 13% chicken is delicious because I have to stay away from McDonald's because they know what to put in their food to make it addictive because holy fucking shit. Those chicken tendies. Give them to me right now. 13% chicken tendies. I'm down with it. Let's go. Put them in my mouth hole.
Oh man, I'll let you have those. You can have all of those. I'm over the Mickey D's, the Mick anything.
I'm trying to eat a lot more healthy now, so I get to go out in my garden and pick a fresh salad, and I'll actually probably do that for lunch here in a little while after the show. Go out and grab a bunch of stuff, and I got no tomatoes yet, sadly. So.
And most of our plants over here on the homestead are a little small still. I think we have a later start on our growing season than you do over on your side of stuff. But the garden's looking sick. We've mentioned that before. I think we talked about gardening with Michael Jimerson, who was on before. That's something we always want to talk about because we both garden. And I believe it's definitely essential to personal freedom is liberating your food and your sufficiency from the state, being self-sufficient. So that's definitely, if you want to talk about that shit, come on the show. We are down for that.
Love talking about gardening.
Hell yeah. Let's see, Pierce, former guest, also in the Discord. He says he thinks it'd be cool to talk about our state's specific brand of government fuckery, of which there is quite a bit up here in Washington.
Yeah, the thing that pisses me off the most is when I start looking at trying to like market a surplus of vegetables or what have you. That shit pisses me off because I'm like, hey, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to grow this food, go out and sell it to somebody who wants to buy it. But right there in the middle is the state who's like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
That meme.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That even ties in with the thing I've thought about quite a bit, and it's are you gonna pay? Or are you just gonna do it? Because the way I see it, just fucking go for it. Undermine that state. Go make your money, and it's fucking not guaranteed safe. Obviously, you might get slapped with a fine if you get caught, arrested, who knows what. But changing things in this extreme of a manner, even starting just with yourself. Making yourself as free as possible doesn't come without risk. That's why it's called revolutionary.
Yeah. Even if you follow the laws and do everything the state says, you're still in danger. Just so you know. I mean, I could cite countless cases. There's one, that the shooting of Philandro Castile, and I probably said his name terribly, but he was legally carrying. He did everything he was supposed to do. He claimed that he had it, and they shot him dead.
Mm-hmm.
And he did nothing wrong except exist, and they were scared. So, and they're always going to be looking for anything, even if you're following the law, they're always going to be looking for you breaking the law and trying to trick you into breaking the law or trick you into incriminating yourself. So your best bet is to just live like the state isn't here. Try to build a community. Something that pisses me off about society is how somebody gets to a certain age, which is society has decided it's 18, and they need to then abandon their family and like move as far away from them as possible and act like they don't exist and hate them, don't want to talk to them, anything like that. If you don't do those things, people look at you funny. And it's really, really annoying because the best way, in my mind, to move away from relying on the state is to come together as family units like that in a community. So like a community of family units. Like that's how the natives did it.
Mm-hmm.
In this country
societies
before everybody was here. And the fact that society has decided that, oh no, you need to go be alone and on your own. Well, why do you think that the suicide rate is up? Why do you think, all these problems, people are so depressed, anxiety, things like that? And then your solution is to, obviously it's not a direct solution to that, but telling people that they need to go be alone and hate their family is not conducive to helping any of those issues.
Yeah.
And it's astounding that people believe that is what's acceptable. I mean, I get it. Your family can be annoying, and yeah, you want your own space and all that, but you can achieve all that being right near your family as well. And you're also going to be much more likely to come together as a team with your family and work together towards common goals and common interests than, a stranger, just naturally. Not that you wouldn't with a stranger, but it's a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the main tactics of the state is ripping apart that support system, or replacing it with themselves, starting from the years and years of indoctrination, forced indoctrination camps called school. They're trying to take more and more reliance on the family to shape the child, and put it in the hands of the state, up to and including punishing parents for different things that they deem unacceptable. And like you said, and it might be culturally, that's a cultural thing that's been kind of initiated by the state, is to ship off somewhere else for school and whatnot. And from what I understand, that's more of a U.S. thing than other countries. A lot of times people go to college and whatnot in the same town or same city, within their support system of their family and communities, because it absolutely extends beyond family to community, of which when people were in the smaller units, most of the community probably was family, in fact. I think that's definitely a really important thing, and I'm trying to get as much of my family around me up in here, what I consider the paradise of the Northwest. I fucking love it up here. And it's just a good idea for self-sufficiency, homesteading, security, everything you could think of. And it even extends to our anarcho family and fam. I always invite people, come on up here. Let's get land near each other. Let's do this shit. Let's start working outside of the government, and show that they're not necessary, not just to ourselves, but to other people looking in, being, like I said, being that change, following the ideas of Konkin and the New Libertarian Manifesto, competing parallel societies to make things like government obsolete.
Yeah, it's extremely important to look at those kind of solutions and look where the problems lie. And I think a lot of the problems are tied to family like that. And yet, like you said, it's an exclusive thing to the United States. I know lots of other places it's not like this, when just abandon your family and fuck your family. But most of our listeners are here, and most of my experience is here, so that's what I'll speak on.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost my train of thought. You say something.
Well, I thought it'd be interesting. Every once in a while, we run into people from across the pond over in Europe online. Haven't found any guests from there, though, and I'd be interested in that, because I hear anarchy, libertarianism, and even obviously cultural things like we're talking about right now are extremely different than we consider them here. And why not extend the fight, extend the olive branch, the handshake to across the whole world? That's the goal eventually, right? Is making freedom happen everywhere. Yeah, I really like that you brought that up at the end, the family unit and community and stuff like that. I think that's a good place to.
It's important.
It's 100% important. It's probably one of the most important things. And it's a good idea to leave everybody with. And on that note, I've been slacking on bringing it up and sharing it. I'm going to share it around social media here in the next couple of days too. But we still have the Coming Together to Help the Dank Meme Family fundraiser up. We're at $5,300 of $7,000. We got a little bit of profits from some of our advertising and whatnot that are going to be going there. And we've had some outreach from people outside of the actual Facebook fundraiser. So it's probably closer to about $5,500. So we got about $1,500. We'll make one last push, because we hit that shit pretty quick, and we really appreciate everyone who donates, and I'm sure Daniel and his family do as well. They've made that very known. So we'll put that back in the notes yet again, and please share that. Donate if you can. If not, sharing's great. Help us help our friend and his family out, and send shit like this our way as well. so we can continue helping in the community with things like this, because this is what's important, is creating that network, that safety fallback for people, to show that we don't need the government to exploit other people and to be able to do that, just to help each other out. So on that note, take care of each other, and we'll check you later.
Zombie presidents, what anarchy! Zombie presidents! Zombie